Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's like, greatest dad feat there to have that many and have them all doing really well and be kind people. So kudos to you.
Well, we're in a great business. That's why it makes me passionate about the business. Just it's amazing the amount of people and the flexibility it gives us and the opportunity to be involved in the community and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. You are in the right spot. This is the rundown on Friday. For anybody that I haven't met, we'll get going here in just a few minutes. We're letting a bunch of people in right now. But I'm Faith Howard Mooney, SVP of Member Engagement here at the Mortgage Collaborative. And our fearless leader, Melissa Downey, is golfing, hopefully very successfully, in a tournament with her mom that she does every year this afternoon. So I'm not quite sure if I volunteered or if she voluntold me, but here we are.
was gonna ask. Yeah, I saw the cutest photo of her. I don't know which media platform it was on, but matching outfits and pearls, they were ready. So
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. You're in the right room, Bernard. I almost opened by saying it was the last week in mortgage today, but it is not. This is the rundown. It's Friday afternoon. So we're going to kick it off and get going here.
Is
Um,
Bernard trying to get points? Is that's what it is? He just has to always try to earn points at every event. So no points this time, Bernard.
oh, I'm echoing. Is anybody else here echo? Sylvia, thank you for letting us know. Is
Not
that
echoing on my end.
okay? All right, perfect. I will try to maybe not be as loud. I'm kind of known for that, so maybe that's what it is. But thanks all for joining us this afternoon. Yes, I have turned a little bit fallish here. I am in Minnesota, and it is fall. If you are in our network and you have not met the two individuals that are with me here today, you need to, because they truly are. I'm going to probably embarrass them a little bit. They truly are two of the smartest, kindest people that I have ever had the pleasure of being around. And we always do have a little bit of fun together. So appreciate the fact, Donielle Geiser, who is the VP of Ops Strategy, or the Chief Cat Herder, whichever one you want to choose.
trying for the chief cat herder position. Just got to get HR on board one day, y'all. One day.
And Randell shared with me before we got on that he just makes issues for Donielle, so that should be his title. I don't think that's probably true, but is the Chief Production Officer or the Chief Problem Originator, both from Lower. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
You.
This is
Yeah.
always a fun time.
It should be. It should be. So we are going to get started. As always, we love to hear from people in the chat. I think we've had some out there already, so that's fantastic. Keep it going as we're going. The format of Friday has changed a little bit here, in that I am going to be pulling some random questions. I do not have Melissa's massive fishbowl at my house. Instead, I have Keegan Mooney's pumpkin. And so we're going to be using a pumpkin today. We're going to be pulling some questions out of the pumpkin. And they are questions that have come into us from our lender member base, either directly into the member engagement team, from working groups, or from our Ask TMC platform. They can't accuse me of picking and choosing hard ones for them because I haven't even read them. So they will be coming at you, and I'll throw in a couple of random questions here and there. If you have answers to the questions, I am sure that Donielle and Randell would love it if you would chime in with your answer in the chat as well. And if they get stumped from one of Melissa's questions, they're not mine, one of Melissa's questions, then we'll be looking for people in the chat to answer them. So let's keep going here.
All
First
right.
question. Can you really see an ROI on AI or in OCR solutions?
Yes, I'm going to say absolutely, but not everyone. And I think that's where the big kicker comes into play, because you've really got to be strategic in what you roll out, how you attack it, and really looking for value. And so, can you automate everything? Almost, but is it worth it? No, is the answer. And there's always going to be a piece of the loan manufacturing process that you can't automate, or, put into some kind of technology. We always are going to need that human element to it, but I think it's really drilling down into your work processes, and looking at the dollars and cents of it all. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really where we're looking for, automation, technology to come in and provide that additional cost relief to our loan manufacturing system. And so you have to be strategic about it. You can't just go in and start, right at the beginning of the loan manufacturing process all the way to the end, but truly going in and evaluating your business. Job shadowing is always, I recommend that. I learn something every single time I spend time with our frontline folks, and really understanding, why are they pushing the buttons that they're pushing? Why are they putting in the data that they're putting in? And then where's your risk for all of that? I mean, I know I fat finger things all the time. And if you've got a closer that's maybe, transposing a number or fat fingering something along the line in the loan manufacturing process, you're going to end up on the backside with either a cure or a PCCD that has to come out. And so that could be an area where you're really looking at your overall business and seeing the dollars and cents. And is that maybe something I need to clean up first that's going to give us that lift? But yes, you can see an ROI, but not on everything. And so you really have to dig into it and look at your business and see what makes sense for your team, for your business, and where do you have the biggest problems that you can actually measure in dollars and cents.
And Faith, I would put it another way as well. You almost can't afford not to do a good portion of it today, either from a retention and a recruiting standpoint. So just yesterday was with a very big producer who's at another organization and is having to input the same data 4 different times because of the way that they're doing the business. And they've not been given relief on that. And so having answers to that is really important. But as Donielle said, I've been a critic sometimes, saying it seems like we're replacing the cost of manual labor into sometimes the high cost of the creative work. So you just got to make sure that that part isn't happening. But companies know today you have to have a measured amount of the technology innovations.
I think a lot of people learned that when COVID happened. It's like we have all of these
Yes.
tools, and then business drops, and it's like, what of this are we really adopting, using? What makes sense for us, maybe what doesn't make sense for us. I think it's lovely that you said that, because you're on the production side, which we normally think of as a people, business, but it literally impacts the whole entire mortgage team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you hit something too about that ROI, Faith, is the adoption and usage of it.
That's
Because
key.
you can build it out, you can roll it out, you can run reports on it, you know what it should be in terms of an ROI, but if you don't have a team that trusts it, that understands it, and that uses it, it's wasted money. It's wasted time developing it. It's wasted time trying to train it. And so really understanding the why and making sure that your teams do and how you roll it out. And I love to always talk about, our teams, when we have something, a new initiative like this, a new program, a new technology, we always go to our loudest loan officers and loan teams, because they can be your best marketing, internal marketing team for us, because corporate can come and say, do this, use this. But if you have a top producer that has actually implemented it into their process and is seeing a valid result from it, they're your biggest fans. They can also be your biggest critics, but that's good too, because then you learn from it and grow from it. But utilize your teams that are really adopting those things, finding a way to spread the word and show other folks within your organization on how to use it for the benefit. And then you'll really see the ROI.
Yeah,
It's been key to our growth. Yeah, it's been key to our growth because of the reputation of being a technology organization and using it, but also having the high touch.
Yeah. Yeah, you need those champions within. That's one of the best pieces of advice that I've heard people give when they're adopting technology, is find those few people and have them be the people that are, whatever you want to call them, the guinea pigs, the people that test it out, the people that are going to find whatever challenges that you're going to find. Those are the people that are going to find it. You might as well do it in the beginning.
Right.
before you do a rollout to anybody, is lowers, when you guys, I know you're a strong technology company. I think you also have to think about technology in relation to what your culture is, because are you going to be a company that mandates it? Are you going to be a company that kind of lets everybody choose? And then if everybody chooses whether to use it or not, I mean, are you paying for what they're not using, or are they? I think you really have to think of the cultural aspects of your company as well sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
Faith, we've kind of had three levels. Maybe this will help some others. Because years ago, when I was at a company that was very much on the forefront of some early innovation and technology, and there it can be so costly, as we pointed out. But if people aren't using it, that's where it's really beyond the cost measure. And so, what has really driven a lot of our decisions, we kind of have three levels, we call it. There is that is paid, those things that we just are so convinced everyone should be using it. And is there a very strong implication or expectation for it? Yes. And we're paying for it. Then there's a partnered one where it's like, look, we really see a lot of value in this, but if a sales organization, if the sales folks are not wanting to participate in it, then maybe it's not for them, and they're not going to then be engaging in it, and it's not going to be executed on. And then the last one is where it's always possible. What you do have to do as an organization is not have shadow stuff that's going on out there that can affect the technology that you do have. So at least be aware of it, and we'll make sure that it's set up the right way. And so that's the way that we'd participate, vetting through it, those kinds of things. So those are the three levels that we've often considered. That way we can keep the cost down, but keep the opportunity up. Because one of the things I was talking to somebody else about even recently, I said, why are there so many different kinds of cars? Why are there so many different options and so many different ways? And technology is exploding so much. CRM is obviously a big topic in our world, and not everyone is going to choose to grab onto just one. So you've got to provide some alternatives, because not everybody does business the same way, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I would assume that you are, one of the most important things that you would be doing to like monitor that ROI is know who's using it and who's not using it in your organization, and either number one, finding out why, retraining, some of those types of, show them the value in it,
Business
or move
intelligence.
on. Yeah, or move on and know that, they're not going to adopt one or the other.
Yeah, that's the first technology anybody should get, is some reporting systems to be able to make sure you can accurately report.
Yep. All right. Great answers.
Did I
Great.
answer that the right way, Donielle?
Yes. Always start with the BI, because data doesn't lie.
He's relieved. He's relieved. He answered it right. All right. Next question. ROV disclosures. Are you sending an initial disclosure when the appraisal is received in your organization?
Yes. So we know we've got the big mandated rollout here coming in, about what, 20 days, something of that nature. So we've been actually working pretty hard on this, and maybe we went a little overkill on it, but yes, we are doing all of the above. But it's, I think, better to have that out into the world, let the borrower know what their options are, rather than, least amount of disclosures. And yes, it's another disclosure, but we are sending out in our initial closing package to the borrower, really going through the ROV process, where they can engage it. And then we're also sending out again at time of completed appraisal delivery to the borrower. We've also set up a link, which I thought was really great, because everything is so online driven these days, but we have set up a link for the borrowers to actually utilize, and they can access it through our POS system. So that's really the easiest thing I think we've done in terms of making it borrower friendly, and also really putting that empowerment back to our borrowers if they have a bad experience and they think that there is, a fundamental defect in their completed appraisal report or their experience that they've had with the individual appraiser, that they've got an option that's pretty easy to get in touch with us really quickly. So it shows up as a task that they can actually see within the same portal that they use for everything, because we run it all through one system, so that they've got a one-stop shop. But it's there for them to access and let us know, rather than maybe somebody else knowing first. We'd like to know first so we can mitigate the problem, have those conversations, review the documentation. But awareness is where it does start. And so making sure that we're over communicating that with the borrower at initial disclosures and at time of appraisal delivery to the borrower. So the answer is yes, we're doing it all.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I have a different question. So everybody post this in the chat too. So we're gonna go to a random question that is not a mortgage question. So Randall, you can relax for this one. You should be able to answer this one. You guys,
Okay.
I found out before we were getting on here today. Randall is the dad of 9 beautiful, apparently fabulous children.
Wonderful children.
This one you're gonna have an opinion on, I can guarantee you. If you were to steal a piece of candy from your children's stash at Halloween, what's your favorite? What would you be taking from them? Oh, there's a lot of there's some Twix in the chat.
I'm gonna have to go with Skittles.
Skittles. Oh, okay. Randall, what's your one?
Ooh,
You've
York
had
Patty.
candy in your house.
You know, I'm a sales guy, so it kind of changes quite often. So sometimes it's a Kit Kat guy, sometimes it's a Reese's guy. Kind of depends.
It kind of depends. Mine is Snickers. It's always been Snickers. It'll probably always be Snickers. I'm with Craig Ungaro. His is Snickers too. We found that out randomly at some point in time. He claims that you're not stealing it out of the thing, that you are doing a quality control check and
That's exactly right.
to your children. So got that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mom and dad tax.
I like that child tax. That's good. That's great.
I have never heard that. That is fantastic. Okay, here's question number 3. Out of the bucket. I'd be curious to hear feedback on what everyone's internal policy is if an employee wants to do a mortgage. Do you have an employee mortgage program?
Absolutely, yes. So we do allow, I mean, first and foremost, privacy is our number one priority when it comes to employees. So we do have a dedicated team from all the way from origination through, closing, and we put quite a bit of restrictions in terms of who can view and see what information in the file. So if you're not on that team, you just happen to randomly get into the file for some reason, you're not going to be able to see all of the employees' personal information, pay, et cetera. So that's always our number one priority in making sure that, that's the reason why we restrict it to a certain team so that, privacy information is protected. But we do offer benefits and, whether it's the interest rate, origination costs, underwriting fees, that sort of things. We want to make sure that our internal customers, our employees are well taken care of and have that incentive to not only work with us, but also blend with us and make sure that they are set up on the right foot from the get-go. And then at Lower, we offer that free refi for life, and that is also extended for our internal employees. So you come back, we're going to make sure we take care of you as well.
Wow, that is fantastic. I haven't heard of anybody doing that one before. That's absolutely fabulous that you would do that. I started my career in mortgage, processing mortgage loans with Jeff McGinnis, who runs Waterstone Mortgage here within our network, which is crazy when you think about it. And they were for Norwest. We were Norwest employees, and we had the Norwest employee loans, and everybody thought I was crazy because they're like, they know just enough to be dangerous. They're harder transactions, but I absolutely loved servicing our employees. So that's actually how I started in the business.
We're taking applications, Faith. So
I'm pretty sure I did it back in the thing in the printer days. I mean, it's been a while. I'm pretty sure I would have to be definitely retrained.
When you're walking those full stacks of paper from desk to desk.
Copy. Yeah, appraisals were mailed. I mean, that's where I started in the industry. So yeah, so very, very funny. I'm not sure I could keep up with anybody at this point in time related to everything that's required, because it definitely is a lot different and always changes. So,
It is.
um,
Okay, Femi, I know you're out there.
Yeah, he
Onions
is.
to kids that are too old and not dressed, still collecting. I just need to know how many onions you start the night with versus how many do you end up with at the end. That's my question to you, Femi.
Should have known he'd put something like that.
oh,
And I have a tendency to believe it, actually.
I completely believe it.
I completely
And
believe.
knowing him, if he has any left over, he makes something fantastic with it, I'm sure. So he is a good cook.
Good point. They're in his house already. Yeah, that is funny. All right, we're moving on to the next question. This is a great one. With servicers being aggressive on refinance opportunities to protect their pipeline, are there tools or strategies you're equipping your sales team with to help?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the first thing that we've got to remember, and we'll see some changes to this, but even the last reporting that came out, servicers are only retaining about 20% of their clients. It's got to be about the relationship. So the first thing it starts with is if you want a client for life, you have to be in their life. I was just reminded of that with a quote earlier when I was talking to one of
Oh,
our folks. And that's going to be the key. So it's staying involved with them. It's being proactive. So we've had our sales folks very actively sending out videos, text, emails, phone calls to their clients to say, I promise to keep you involved and informed as opportunities come up in the business, and would love to just do another review with you and find out what you're looking to accomplish. Are you looking to lower your payment, or are you looking to pay off your mortgage sooner? Or is there something else going on in your life? So the other thing that we're reminding our salespeople to do is to make sure that we are considering our agents and those referral sources, because it's a great opportunity when we're re-engaging. It might be that now they're looking, maybe they're in the process, that client, maybe they don't want to refinance because they know they're going to be moving in a couple of months. And so we can help re-engage them back with their referral source or their agent that we may have gotten that initial referral from as well. So it's about being great partners with our agents. So yes, absolutely, staying involved, be consistent, be proactive in the communication, and then total cost analysis, doing things that stand out, that show the value that you're providing. Obviously, servicers can have some advantages with how they do their compensations and so on. But if we're providing a better service, ultimately, that'll be worth it.
Yeah, I think people like to work with people that they trust and they like to work with. I think, and most people do. I mean, there's some obviously that only look at the numbers, but those are actually kind of fewer and farther between than, people sometimes think.
Yeah.
I heard something. I was on a call with Stuart Crawford. I don't know if you guys have met Stuart from Bison Ventures before, but I was on a call with him recently, and there was one thing that he pointed out that I think, is a great thing for people to remember. I asked him if, what advice would he give somebody? And he talked about how, not only are your agents are your referral sources, but literally everybody in your circle, is kind of, and
Yeah.
Randall, I can tell that you're definitely, that way you had an EMT in your house at one point in time that was in your pipeline. EMT was in your house.
Just to clarify, yeah, he was there as we had one of our children coming so fast she came at home. So yeah, the first responder was actually an existing client we're in the process of closing.
Which I think is great, but I think that, people tend to forget that. You think about all of those referral sources that are in mortgage, but it literally could be anybody that you could be in the grocery line with somebody, and they could be someone that, asks a question, or you hear them talking about something that could be in your pipeline. So he was giving some advice about, it's like everywhere I go really is like an opportunity to further develop what my network is. And sometimes he thought, which I'm sure it's probably true, it's like if you're doing something that's your passion, and then, and your passion is your mortgage, but you're out hiking or, at the gym or whatever, you're going to find some like-minded people in those situations with you, that it might be an easier place to build your
Faith,
network of people.
one of the things that we were reminded of earlier this week, some research that came out, we're at the highest, the number of purchase contracts, pending sales are at the highest levels now that they've been in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So we're talking a lot about refinancing, and we got to make sure we're not forgetting about the agents because they have new opportunities. And again, there's some people that as the rates have come down, as the changes have occurred, and maybe just life circumstances, they could be looking to move. So staying engaged with our clients, we just have to keep coming back to that. And everyone is a potential client. The other thing I would mention, do you remember some research that came out, I don't know, 6-7 months ago from Stratmore that talked about the mystery calls that they were doing, the mystery shopping, and just shocking so many salespeople that weren't getting back with the client. 10 minutes is when people expect a response. 10-minute is what is the commonly considered a response time now. So people have to remember those kinds of things when we're in these environments. There is lots of opportunity. We're seeing a big divergence between those who are actually having some record years now, and then those who, because the perception is that there are challenges out there, then I might as well not be as aggressive. But this is the opportunity to really shine and show your professionalism, your intelligence, your skill.
Yeah. I don't know, as I think the dentist chair is like would be my first priority for trying to get a mortgage loan. That one might be kind of hard, but it is quite funny.
More power to you, Kevin, if you can do all of that with instruments in your mouth. So that's impressive, sir.
Yeah.
Who was it? Somebody, Donielle, who was it? Somebody recently, they'd gotten into a fender bender and they picked up an application.
An application. They sure did. Yes, I do remember that.
You just don't go out and do that as a sales initiative.
And I think they were hit. They weren't the ones hitting. So we'll make that
they're exchanging
clarification.
Information already. Hey,
yeah.
Your insurance agent. What
your
about
home?
your W-2s and pay stubs? Exactly.
Yeah. But one thing I will say, and just to remember for all the ops folks out there, and I know we talk about it quite a lot, sales doesn't just mean sales person. It means it's rated E for everyone. I think Amir said that in an email recently, but it just because you're a closer or you're an underwriter doesn't mean that you can't have those same conversations within your network, especially with the holidays coming up and sitting around a table. Nobody wants to talk about politics or religion. Talk mortgage. What are you doing today? Where are you on your rate? What do you have, coming up that maybe you need to plan for financially? And so it doesn't have to be a real awkward, horrible conversation, but, even just providing some scripting to some of your ops teams, you'd be amazed at just what a little bit of prompting can do and reminding them that, hey, everybody's actually in sales too.
Yeah.
So.
And you can actually build some great relationships internally. I know I did this yesterday with a friend of mine in the industry. I sent her over somebody that I thought she could answer a question for that I couldn't, knowing that they were looking for a service that she works with. You can build some great friendships in the industry who will send things back to you as well when they see them, just by being a good friend and forwarding through. So think about that with your coworkers. If you have a lead for them, that they can capitalize in, that makes a pretty good coworker friendship start for sure. Easy question for everybody. Number one, fact, 12.2 billion spent on candy, costumes, and decorations for Halloween. That's an outrageous amount of money.
A lot of money, a lot of candy.
3.6 billion of that was on candy in 2023. So a quarter of it was for candy alone.
Well, now we know why Kevin was in the dentist chair to begin with. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so funny question. Everybody chime in the chat on this one too. Favorite Halloween movie? There are Halloween movies.
I'm a chicken. I can't do the scary horror movies. So
Focus. That's a great. Oh, there's like a lot of focus that popped up. Wow.
Okay, I have seen that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the birds. I tried to watch that one, and now I have a completely irrational fear of birds. I couldn't even make it all the way through that Hitchcock movie. No.
Elementary school, and that was our movie at school that year, and I frightened. Yeah, frightened by that one. Mine is, believe it or not, it's a Halloween movie. Is E.T. All of E.T. is done in the fall and has Halloween costumes and the whole 9 yards. You'll have to go back and watch
that movie.
And see.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're down to our very last question. We've all survived this today. So here's the last one. Is anyone charging the borrower for VOEs or VOIs at this time? Or is it included within your cost of doing business?
A little bit of both. I'm going to say we definitely give some flexibility out to our teams to make that decision and how they want to present that. We do allow for it to be collected on the CD at closing. We just need to make sure that it's been disclosed properly and that we have an invoice. But it's really up to the branch and how they're selling it initially. Randall, do you have any thoughts on that?
I'd say the same thing. We're very flexible, compliance first, and then ultimately flexible for what the market needs and demands.
Yeah, because we know everybody's a little bit different, and what works in Dallas, Texas doesn't work in Miami, Florida. So, just relying on our teams to know their market, to know their clientele and who they're serving to make those decisions and calls.
Well, we are at the bottom of the hour. It always goes by so fast when it's delightful conversation amongst friends. And I mean what I said at the beginning. If anybody on this call has not met either of these two, they're great contacts definitely to have in the industry. They contribute a lot to the TMC family. We are very, very thankful for both of you. And that you're part of our family. So thank you for doing this with me today. I really appreciate it.
What a great opportunity. Thank you, Faith.
Thank you so much, Faith. This has been fun.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll come back Friday. You'll catch Melissa and a couple of other people from our network next Friday. So come back and join us then. Thanks everybody for being with us today. We appreciate you all. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you all. Take care.
Bye, everyone.